A reading from the book of the prophet Ezekiel, chapter 41, the main hall. He took me to the main hall and measured its piers 3 meters wide on the one side, 3 meters wide on the other. The width of the entrance was 4 meters, and the returns of the entrance were 2 meters on the one side and 2 meters on the other. He measured its length, 18 meters, and its width, 9 meters. The Holy of Holies. He then went inside and measured the pier at the entrance, 1 meter. Then the entrance, 2 meters, and the returns of the entrance, 3 meters. He measured its length, 9 meters, and its width against the main hall, 9 meters. He then said to me, "This is the Holy of Holies." The side chambers. He then measured the wall of the temple, 3 meters. The width of the side chambers was 2 meters all round the temple. The side chambers were one above the other in 3 tiers of 30 side chambers each. The side chambers were recessed into the wall of the structure comprising the side chambers, all round, forming offsets. But there were no offsets in the wall of the temple itself. The width of the side chambers increased, story by story, corresponding to the amount taken in from the wall from one story to the next, all round the temple. Then I saw that there was a paved terrace all round the temple. The height of this, which formed the base of the side chambers, was 1 complete rod of 3 meters. The outer wall of the side chambers was 2 meters thick. There was a passage between the side chambers of the temple and the rooms, 9 meters wide, all round the temple. As a way into the side chambers on the passage, there was one entrance on the north side and one entrance on the south side. The width of the passage was 2 meters right round. The building on the west side of the court was 30 meters wide. The wall of the building was 2 meters thick all round, and its length was 40 meters. He measured the length of the temple, 44 meters. The length of the court plus the building and its walls, 44 meters. He measured the length of the building along the court at the back and its galleries on either side, 44 meters. The inside of the temple, the inside of the main hall, and the porches of the court, the thresholds, the windows, the galleries on 3 sides facing the threshold were paneled with wood all round from floor to windows, and the windows were screened with lattice work. From the door to the inner part of the temple, as well as outside and on the wall all round, both inside and out, were carved cherubim and palm trees, 1 palm tree between 2 cherubim. Each of the cherubim had 2 faces, a human face turned towards the palm tree on one side, and the face of a lion turned towards the palm tree on the other side. Throughout the temple, all round, cherubim and palm trees were carved on the wall from the floor to above the entrance. The doorposts of the main hall were square. In front of the sanctuary there was something like a wooden altar, 3 cubits high and 2 cubits square. Its corners, base, and sides were of wood. He said to me, "This is the table in the presence of the Lord." The main hall had double doors, and the sanctuary had double doors. These doors had 2 hinged leaves, 2 leaves for the one door, 2 leaves for the other. On them on the doors of the main hall were carved cherubim and palm trees like those carved on the walls. There was a wooden porch roof on the front of the entrance hall on the outside, and windows with flanking palm trees on the sides of the entrance hall, the chambers to the side of the temple, and the porch roofs. The word of the Lord. A reading from the book of the prophet Ezekiel, chapter 42, Outbuildings of the temple. He then took me out into the outer court on the north side and led me to the room facing the court, that is to say, to the front of the building on the north side. Along the front, it was 44 meters long on the north side and 22 meters wide. Facing the gateways of the inner court and facing the paving of the outer court was a gallery built in 3 tiers, and in front of the rooms was a walkway which was 4 meters measured inwards and 44 meters long. Their doors looked north. The top floor rooms were narrow because the galleries took up part of the width, being narrower than those on the ground floor or those on the middle floor of the building. These were divided into 3 stories and had no columns such as the court had. Hence, they were narrower than the ground floor ones or the middle floor ones below them. The outer wall parallel to the rooms facing them and giving onto the outer court was 22 meters long, the length of the rooms facing the outer court being 22 meters, while those facing the main hall of the temple were 44 meters. Beneath the rooms there was an entrance from the east, leading in from the outer court. In the thickness of the wall of the court on the south side, fronting the court and the building, were rooms. A walkway ran in front of them, as with the rooms built on the north side. They were of the same length and breadth and were of similar design with similar doors in and out. In front of the rooms on the south side, there was an entrance at the end of each walkway opposite the corresponding wall on the east side at their entries. He said to me, "The northern and southern rooms giving onto the court are the rooms of the sanctuary, in which the priests who approach the Lord will eat the most holy things. In them will be placed the most holy things, the oblation, the sin offering, and the guilt sacrifice, since this is a holy place. Once the priests have entered, they will not go out of the holy place into the outer court without leaving their liturgical vestments there, since these vestments are holy. They will put on other clothes before going near places assigned to the people." Measurements of the temple. When he had finished measuring the inside of the temple, he took me out to the east gate and measured it right round the sides. He measured the east side with his measuring rod, a total of 220 meters by the measuring rod. Then he measured the north side, a total of 220 meters by the measuring rod. He then measured the south side, 220 meters by the measuring rod. Was the total. On the west side, he measured 220 meters by the measuring rod. He measured the entire enclosing wall on all 4 sides, length 220 meters, breadth 220 meters, separating the sacred from the profane. The return of the Lord. The word of the Lord.